One of the biggest mistakes that beginners make with their art is, hey, welcome back. Today let's talk about shading and its fundamentals. Make sure to watch till the end of this video as I will be showing you how to create this in Procreate. So with that, let's get into it. What makes art pop? Light or shadow? The answer is both. These elements give the illusion of form and depth. To do this, we need to analyze how light behaves and how it affects our subject. It is also equally important to practice pressure control to achieve smooth shading. Let's use a simple sphere as an example. Here we can identify the light source beaming down from the top left corner. To analyze this properly, we need to divide our sphere into two families, one facing the light source and one covered in shadow. Let's start with the light family and identify these three elements in our sphere: the direct light, highlight, and midtones. The direct light is the area of the sphere that faces the light source and receives the most direct light. The highlight is the brightest point of the sphere, as it is actually the reflection of the light source. It is perpendicular to the light source depending on where the observer's position in relation to the sphere's surface. It may appear softer or sharper depending on the object's reflectivity. Adding highlights is usually done at the last part of the art process. Midtones. These are the tones that lie between the shadow values and the light values of the sphere. It is where the light starts to gradually decay. They belong to the light family and therefore appear brighter than everything in the shadow family. Now let's proceed with the shadow family and identify these four elements on our sphere: the core shadow, reflected light, cast shadow, and occlusion shadow. Examining further our image right here, we can clearly see a visible dark band where the light and shadow intersect. It is the darkest area of the shadow on the sphere, as it is the area least affected by reflected light. Yes, light tends to bounce off on surfaces until it decays out completely. As the light beams down and bounces off the surface, it illuminates a little bit of the darker area of the sphere. This explains why shadows are hardly perceived as entirely black. Light behaves differently on darker surfaces. As a matter of fact, lighter colors reflect, while darker colors absorb. So in this image right here, where we have a darker surface, we can barely see both the reflected light and the core shadow band. The cast shadow is the shadow on the surface created by the sphere by blocking the light from the light source. There is an easy way to figure out the shape of the cast shadow. Project the two outline edges made from the light source to the surface. These projections will show you the boundaries of the cast shadow. The occlusion shadow is part of the cast shadow. It is the darkest portion of the cast shadow because it is the least affected by the light source and reflected light. Light can reflect off of many things in the environment. They have difficulty bouncing their way into tight areas such as the point where our sphere touches the surface. It is important to practice shading gradually on a wider range to achieve good pressure control. Achieving more realistic results is one of the benefits. Draw a series of boxes right next to each other and start shading the first box with the darkest value and slowly work your way towards the last box with the lightest value. Be patient and keep practicing until it becomes part of your muscle memory. Here are some examples of the do's and don'ts when shading. On this first box, we can clearly see gaps in between strokes, which look messy and uneven. Now let's do it properly on this other box. Notice the difference between this and the previous one. It's not perfect, but it's obviously way smoother and cleaner. The key here is taking your time and trying to be consistent with every stroke. Another mistake is making overlapping strokes. it really pays off if you avoid rushing your way to finish everything up. Controlling your shading transition can be fun. For example, we can make 3 different edges just by controlling our shading transition. An abrupt shading transition can indicate a sharp edge, while a gradual transition can indicate a round one. Now that we have covered the basics, I encourage you to try these steps and create something applying these same techniques. If you made it this far, thank you. And for that, here's a clip showing you how I created this 8-ball in Procreate. Enjoy! that's about it. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial, and if you have made it this far, thank you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you have questions, you can let me know in the comments below. To see updates on this channel, consider subscribing, as I will be uploading more tutorial videos like this in the future. Thank you for your time. As always, stay amazing, and I will see you on the next one.